Hey listeners, Zoe Davis here. As someone who grew up in the winemaking world, I know firsthand that the wine industry is struggling right now. But this means that it's more important than ever to educate the world about the joy of wine. Those of us who love wine know that it's not like any other beverage. It's hand-grown and handmade by people who care. Help the Four Top to share your brand story by sponsoring our work. You can email me at zoe@thefourtop.org, that's ZOE at thefourtop.org, or reach out to us on social media to learn more.
Okay, guys, when a wine-related Instagram post gets 500,000 likes, I really need to bring it to your attention.
Oh, goodness. Are we finally going to talk about that post that my daughter sent me that I sent to you guys?
Yes, that's the one. The chronically online community has fallen for a parade of Indian runner ducks marching to their day jobs, which happen to be in a gorgeous vineyard in South Africa.
Yes, this is the post we saw on an account called Adventuring Eyes about, and I'm going to try my best to pronounce this, Vergenoegdlo Wine Estate. I hope I did that correctly, which is just outside Cape Town. And there are 2,000 Indian runner ducks that are the vineyard's natural pest controllers. So every morning they waddle off to the fields to snack on snails and mosquito larvae, and they keep those vines pest free and healthy.
Oh my God, I just love this daily duck parade. It is so cute. I keep going back and looking at the reel again on my phone. And bonus points, the ducks have their own bodyguards, which are geese. The geese protect them from predators like mongooses and owls. How cute is that? Although I have to say, the geese on the Portland waterfront are extremely aggressive, so I am a little afraid of them. They're kind of like the club bouncers of the avian world.
I absolutely would not mess with a goose, and that's a bummer because they say you're not really a man until you've defeated a goose in combat. So I will never be a man. But let's get back to the ducks.
But are you a Muppet?
I would much rather be a Muppet. Uh, they aren't just employees; they're family. They even
Hmm.
get annual leave, which is like much more generous than any leave I've ever received. So during harvest time, they get to just waddle off and hang out with their friends and family so that they don't accidentally snack on the grapes.
That's pretty
And
smart.
then when it's time for them to retire, instead of going to a farm upstate, if you know what I mean, they're actually sent off to a little island on the estate's lake to live out their days in peace. So there's no duck on the menu. They all just get to die of old age.
I am obsessed with this. It's so cute. And it really reminds me of episode 144. Do you remember the San Francisco Chronicle article? I actually brought it up a few weeks ago about California vineyard owners being burnt out on sheep. They were accusing one another of greenwashing by just putting sheep in vineyards for photo ops. And we got a lot of listener comments on that one.
Are you suggesting, Ruby, that this duck show may be just for show?
But is the show not the action? Is the outcome not justified by the means? Are we not all ducks in a show?
Whoa. Bong noise, bong noise, bong noise. When you put it that way.
No bongs here, just wine. All right, folks, get out those flashcards. There is some new vocab to pair with your NA beverages. And Pooches pounce on pests and pestilence in vineyards. Aren't you glad that orange wine is finally official in Collio? Finally, we catch up on all the non-serious wine news we missed over the holidays. These are the stories we're following this week on your favorite wine news podcast, The Four Top. I'm Catherine Cole, here with Nick Toole and Ruby Welkovich. But folks, before we get started, there has been one really big news story this past week, and it has not exactly been a wine story, but a tragedy that is affecting a lot of friends in the wine world.
That's right. The catastrophic fires in Los Angeles have affected so many people, and that includes wine retailers, wholesalers, restaurant workers, and winemakers.
We just want to take a moment to let you all know we are thinking of you. There are, fortunately, a lot of terrific organizations helping out with disaster relief, but we wanted to highlight one that helps out members of the hospitality industry.
Yeah, it's called Another Round, Another Rally, and it's easy to give via Instagram. Just go to Another Round, Another Rally on Insta, and you will find posts and instructions on giving to hospitality workers who have lost their jobs or homes due to these devastating fires. And now, time for our show.
All right, guys, you know that thing that happens around the holidays where there are just no breaking news stories? Well, turns out that news still happens over the holidays. It's just that nobody reports on it.
Oh, yeah, I see where you're going, Ruby. We usually just summarize 4 news stories per episode of the Four Top, but our news feed was so overflowing this week, which means I have no choice. I have been called to duty. I must report to duty. I must do what I do best. I'm going to turn this podcast into a quiz show.
Oh, no. Again, I thought we would stop this in the new year and we could do something
And
different.
Quiz Show Nick is back. It's time for a game we're calling Lightning Round Wine News. Catherine, you're the queen of sparkling wine.
Anytime, baby.
So let's kick off our lightning round with a bit of bubbly controversy. Who had a champagne brand called Veuve Poignet, meaning widow wrist?
Ooh, I have not heard of that one.
Oh, come on! It was none other than Jean-Marie Le Pen, founder of France's National Front and father of Marine Le Pen. He passed away last week. I wasn't so sad about it. And the French paper Le Figaro took the occasion to remember the champagne brand Le Pen founded in partnership with a former bank robber.
Wait, hold on. I'm just catching up here. Can we go back to widow wrist? What is that supposed to mean?
Well, that's the quiz question.
I'm at a loss here.
Actually, I'm at a loss too, because French trolling does not translate directly into English, but I can assure you this champagne brand was intended to be offensive. Le Pen, who is an outspoken homophobe, reportedly said that his target demographic for his limp-wristed wine was homosexuals in the Marais.
I am so confused about the French National Rally. Like, who voted for these awful people?
I don't know, but Ruby, I know you love tiny things. Next question is for you.
I don't think I've ever said that I love tiny.
Ruby, what new wine bottle sizes are now legal to sell in the United States as of January 10th?
I have no idea. Tiny ones? Fun-sized wines?
Yes,
Oh.
and weird in between sizes. Thanks to our friend Alder Yarrow at Vinography, we learned this week that wine can now be sold in strange sizes that don't correlate with wine bottle volumes at all.
Oh, okay, so they're like not divisible by 750 milliliters?
No, they are not. Good luck making sense of the 13 additional now legal bottle sizes for wine.
Okay, wait. I think I'm actually into this if there's a tall boy option for like, when you just want a glass or two but don't have a Coravin. And there is. Hey, 180 and 300 milliliters. I see you. What are you doing tonight?
Oh, weird. All right, next story. Catherine, what has been the most controversial statement about dry January in 2025?
Oh, that's got to be the Surgeon General's announcement. Oh,
No, nothing to do with that.
wait, how am I getting these all wrong? Isn't this my show, Nick?
It is, but I got to write the script. It is, but you're still wrong. The most controversial statement about dry January came from the mayor of Châteauneuf-du-Pape, who, on a French radio program last week, said that he had had enough of dry January, calling the annual event, quote, insulting, infantilizing, and unbearable. Kind of like my voice.
Okay, agreed. First, Jean-Marie Le Pen, and now this guy. I'm kind of worried for French men. Do they need help? We're here to listen.
Oh my God, dude, it's just a month in people's life. Let people detox. No one's outright banning Syrah and Grenache.
And now, Ruby, let's turn to a think piece, a real thinker think piece in the Atlantic magazine, and seal in your win.
I just want to say that I interned at the Atlantic during college, so I should really be getting this
What,
question.
Ruby, does the Atlantic say that Americans need to do more of?
Given that it's the Atlantic, read more long form think pieces and I guess drink more wine while carrying a tote bag.
No.
Wait, I've got this. I saw this piece and I stand behind it. We need to party more.
Ooh.
That's right, Catherine. Only 4.1% of Americans hosted or attended a social event on an average weekend in 2023, a 35% drop since 2004. The party deficit is real, and I need to note that this is one of the first non-depressing titles I've seen on an Atlantic article in a long time. They have the most depressing article titles ever.
This is true. Yeah, and it is so sad that Americans are not partying anymore. To cite the article, while 84% of Americans say they love birthday parties, only 59% actually attended one last year.
Oh my gosh, that's so sad. No wonder people are lonely. We need to bring back house parties stat, and I would if only I had a house.
Oh man, I am tired of doing that voice. All right, I'm gonna step away from it now. I gotta tell you guys, the party scene is pretty happening here in Maine. We like to, get loose with some Allen's coffee brandy. Maybe it's because people here just haven't figured out social media yet. I don't know what it is.
There's been a lot of parties in Brooklyn lately too. Just saying.
Oh, you guys are good. Well, I love the author's solution to this problem in this Atlantic piece. Writer Ellen Cushing challenged readers to throw just 2 parties a year. Doesn't need to be fancy, folks. Just invite people over, share some wine, and build that sense of community we're all craving.
I love this idea. We should totally start a movement. So, who's hosting the first one?
Uh, I have a small apartment, so I'll let one of you host, but I'll bring the wine in one of those cute little 300 milliliter bottles.
That'll serve like 2/3 of a person. Okay.
Time for story number 2, and we're back to non alcoholic beverages. Yes, again. I'm holding a bottle of Gia in my hand as I say that NA will continue to be the beverage story this year, just like it was in 2024.
All right, I'm gonna call you Senorita Gia from now on. But anyway,
Oh.
back to NA drinks. I'm thinking we should start our own line. I've already got like a cool branding concept since I've been thinking about this story. It's Nick's Potato Water. Because, I love tomato wine, and I'm pretty sure we've talked about potato wine before too. So I'm thinking I take the liquid that's left over after I boil potatoes. Of course, I eat the potatoes, waste not, want not. But then I take that leftover water, I bottle it up, and we sell it.
Oh my God, Nick, I need you to redirect now. We are on a wine podcast, and we're talking about the fast changing world of successful, I repeat, successful NA beverage brands. Now, I realize I've been guilty of throwing around some of these NA terms without even knowing what they mean. I mean, what does NA even stand for? I guess it's non alcoholic, or what do I know? I've never looked it up. Maybe it's neo alkaline. I don't know. But yeah, I've had some weird experiences with adult NA beverages, and I've also had some that just seem to be flavored sparkling water. So I've been pretty confused.
Yeah, I'm really into this category, but I'm also confused. Some brands say they're creating an alternative social experience, others focus on flavor profiles, hoppy, smoky, botanical, that kind of mimic alcohol without the buzz. But Catherine, I remember last week you said that CBD does sort of give you a buzz, or at least some sort of like sleepy hangover. So let's turn to a piece by Rachel Sugar of Punch to help define some common and also confusing NA terms.
Yeah, this was a very helpful article, and I was glad to see at the top of this list of terms adaptogens because I have been enjoying this aperitif called, I think it's called Droma, Dromme lately, and it says it has adaptogens. I have no idea whether I'm drinking like drugs or just spices. So I was happy to see that adaptogens are just like herbs, roots, and fungi that are believed to help the body manage stress. Things like ashwagandha, ginseng, and lion's mane. Some of these have been used in Eastern medicine for centuries, but their role in Western wellness is still evolving. Now, misinformation about them abounds, and there's also a lack of information, but just by perusing this list of these types of ingredients, I'm seeing stuff that I also see in herb teas, so I'm not too worried about adaptogens at least.
Continuing to look at this Punch article, I am intrigued by this term ANA, or adult non alcoholic alternatives. I guess the key word here is adult.
Yeah.
So this allows for the inclusion of ingredients like CBD, Catherine,
Mhm.
and it is also used for marketing purposes, obviously. Like, oh, look at this. This is a fancy soda water. So we are going to charge $30 a bottle for it. So don't be pouring it out for the kitties. Although I have seen CBD for kitties, as in cats. So
Yeah, I think my dogs have some CBD treats.
Okay, let's talk about blends. These are non alcoholic products, typically wine proxies, created by layering fruits, vinegars, teas, and herbs to achieve a complex flavor, all without de alcoholizing an existing wine base.
I like those. Another term I like in the bees is burn. Now, in the beverage business, we think of the burn of alcohol. And what I love about this new crop of NA beverages is a lot of them are spiced with like ginger or chilies. And so you still get that kind of sensory experience of that burn in your throat or your mouth. And I have to say, my head kind of spins when I taste something really spicy. So I kind of love getting pseudo tipsy off ginger tea and and drinks with ginger in them. So I kind of love the burn of these beverages.
And don't overlook nootropics. These are substances like caffeine or L-theanine that are said to enhance cognitive function and maybe keep you awake. So be sure to check ingredient lists for caffeine before downing nootropics too close to bedtime. Some NA drinks are packed with these, blending functionality with flavor and maybe promising too much. I'm looking at you, Andrew Huberman.
Yeah, watch your back, Andrew. We're gonna have a bigger podcast than you pretty soon. All right. Anyway, I get the sense that some of the promises of these drinks, like, boosted brain function or improved stress management, are definitely overblown because I'm pretty sure you need to regularly consume adaptogens for them to have a, significant benefit. So, unless you're drinking your fungus-filled NA drink every day, all those extra shrooms probably aren't doing much for you.
That's true. And hey, guys, speaking of NA trends, can we take a little detour across the Atlantic and talk about a news item I've been thinking about for the past couple weeks? I saw this in the Sunday Times of London. It's about, I love saying this name, Francesco Lollobrigida. He's Italy's agriculture minister.
Wait, Lolo Brigida? Is this guy related to the bombshell film siren Gina Lolo Brigida?
Yes, he's her grandnephew. And if you read a really outstanding book called Rose All Day, you would know that the Italians used to call hourglass shaped wine bottles La Lollobrigida in honor of Miss Gina's voluptuous figure.
I love that. Okay, I'm looking Francesco Lola Brigida up right now. It says he's not only Italy's agriculture minister, but is also Italian PM Giorgia Meloni's brother in law. Basically, he's Italy's answer to the Le Pen family in France. And apparently, he's not shy about using high speed trains as his personal car service.
Juicy. Sounds like he'd fit right in our lightning round we did.
Oh, yeah, we should have put him up there. Oh, well. Yeah, so Lolo Brigida recently made waves by allowing de alcoholized wine to be labeled as wine, provided it's under 0.5% ABV. So, guys, this is a big deal for Italians and for a government that was previously really focused on like being traditional.
Well, considering Italians are drinking 70% less wine than they did 50 years ago, it makes sense.
Well, let me guess traditionalists aren't thrilled.
No, not at all. But before all of our listeners completely lose it, let me assure you, wine industry folks, that existing DOPs and IGPs are not affected by this ruling. So you will not see an NA Chianti anytime soon, folks. But this does allow modern producers to use the word vino on their labels while also attracting younger, health conscious NA drinkers.
Well, on that note, let's turn to our third story, which is also about Italian wine traditions.
Yes, let's talk about the Collio DOC, or DOP, I guess I should say, the renowned wine region in northeastern Italy. This region has just made the groundbreaking move to officially include orange wines in their production specifications.
Brooklyn is rejoicing over this news. Our official borough drink has been recognized.
Yeah. Yeah, they did this totally for the benefit of Brooklynites. But yeah, this is actually kind of a head scratcher for me because orange wine has been made in this region for like thousands of years. So it took them this long to recognize this officially.
So basically, Collio is updating their wine playbook to include a style that's been around for centuries.
Yeah, exactly. This feels like something that should have happened 1,000 years ago, or at least a couple of decades ago. I mean, pioneers like Stanko Radikon and Jasko Gravner led the revival of these ancient winemaking traditions, and they were making orange wines as far back as 1995.
Yeah, I remember that actually. I was an early adopter. I bought one of Radicon's first bottles. So,
Right, when you were, let me run some numbers here, 1 years old?
Yeah, interesting. Your parents must be proud, Nick. Anyway,
hmm.
this decision by the Collio Consortium came after years of debate and some pushing from their certification body, Valor Italia. Now, this being Europe, they have created a technical committee to nail down all the details. I'm sure there'll be lots of infighting and bureaucracy there. And they are setting a minimum maceration time of 7 days.
And I see that they're using the Pantone scale for color. That's next level design nerdy, and I'm really into it.
Yeah, I love that. The exact color tone will even appear on the label so drinkers can know what to expect. Because, I'm thinking about these Collio wine bottles. They tend to be brown glass, if I recall correctly. So you can't really see the color until you pour the wine in the glass.
Oh, wait, as long as we are talking about color, they're not calling it orange wine, are they?
No, the likely label terms will be vino da uve maccerate or vino ottenuto con macerazione. I really butchered that. Sorry, folks. They want to honor the tradition without leaning on trendy terms like orange or amber.
This is the wine world, though. I'm guessing somebody is pissed off.
Yeah, correct. Some producers worry this could muddy Collio's reputation for its pure, fresh whites, but the majority see it as a way to celebrate the region's rich history with skin contact wines. I love saying skin contact, by the way.
Oh. Anyway, I'm excited about this as a sucker for old traditional styles. I worked at the first American brewery to produce true lambic style beers, so these funky old traditions always excite me. When can we get our hands on these vino da uve macerate and whatnot?
Well, we've been drinking these wines from Collio since you were 1 year old, Nick, right? Don't you remember?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
But as far as seeing these new labels out in the wild, the first Vino da Uve Macerate could hit store shelves and wine lists next year. Bureaucracy permitting, of course.
I will be first in line.
As I was back in 1995. I remember it well.
hmm All right, guys, time to push the politics aside. Let's ditch regulations and drama. It's time to talk about one of my favorite things in the world, dogs.
Uh, hmm. Sometimes dogs can be like dreams. Like we love talking about our own dogs, but hearing about someone else's dog is boring. So I'm gonna veto this one. Moving on.
Okay, first of all, what if Pablo heard you? Rude. Second of all, you'll regret saying that because turns out dogs can now be trained to detect vine mealybugs and leaf roll viruses in grapevines.
I know, I love this. Four specially trained detector dogs named Malbec, Sovi B, Cab, and Zinni were the stars of a pilot project in California recently. And we should mention that Wine Business first reported on this, but it's been picked up by a number of other wine publications. So each dog had its own specialty. Malbec and Sovi B sniffed out vine mealybugs, while Cab and Zinni focused on leaf roll virus, and their accuracy was stunning. These dogs detected these threats with more than 93% precision.
All right, I'm back on the dog train. I retract my earlier statements. I don't, but for the purpose of the podcast, I'll continue. Turns out these dogs can sniff out specific chemical compounds associated with these vineyard pests and diseases, and they can do it quickly and cheaply. They can screen thousands of vines quickly, offering real time, non destructive, and highly accurate results, as Catherine mentioned. So, for example, it would cost just about $5,200 to screen an entire 40-acre vineyard in just 2 days with two dogs and a handler.
Stephanie Bolton, who worked on the project, believes that the dogs could be most valuable in vine nurseries, identifying infected vines before they're even planted. But funding for broader training and deployment is still up in the air. Initial funding came from the California Department of Pesticide Regulation, and if they don't secure more support, the dogs might be retrained for other purposes.
No!
Okay, well, aggressive.
Sorry, I'm just trying to manifest it. I don't want him to be retrained.
Well, I'm trying to manifest a meeting with Malbec and Savi B, so maybe we can bring them on as our next guests.
Yeah, I'm sure they would have a lot to say on the microphone. That's a great idea. Um, in the meantime, I just love this story because if there's one thing that dogs love, it's having a job. So, guys, if you've got a lazy winery dog, let's put those dogs to work. We can give them the job sniffing out diseases. I love this.
Hey guys, we have a big announcement and a lot of questions for you. We are going to be changing up our format and our cadence in the next few weeks.
That's right. We are going to start by dropping episodes a little less frequently so we have more time to plan. So we will be going from weekly to bi weekly.
Yeah, and we would also love for you listeners to be a part of the new sound of the Foretop. Just go to our homepage at theforetop.org, hit the listener survey button, and let us know what you think of the pod.
We'll also put our survey in our link tree on our Instagram, so you can check it out there as well.
Also, any comments about Nick's potato water, if you're interested in acquiring wine pants, or if you just want to know my secrets to growing taller in your later years, just go ahead and hit me up.
Well, this has been the Four Top Podcast. I am our executive producer, Catherine Cole.
I'm our producer, Nick Toole.
I'm media and design manager Ruby Welkovich.
Keelan King is the composer and performer of our theme music.
Hey y'all, we want to ask you a favor. Please share your favorite Four Top episode with a friend. You can just send it straight to them through your favorite podcast app. It's easy. It's peasy. You got to do it.
You can grab the episode link from your favorite podcast platform or from our website at thefourtop.org.
Well, from Francesco Lollobrigida's private bullet train, this is Catherine signing out.
Coming out of an adaptogen and nootropic haze, this is Nick signing out.
And recording live from an hourglass-shaped wine glass from Italy, this is Ruby signing out. Stay safe out there, and thanks for listening.